Hi, my name's Ben. I'm an artist, illustrator and designer, and I basically just wanted to show some of my work today, just to give an introduction to myself and what I'm kind of all about. At the moment I've just got my website up on screen. Here's just a sort of selection of some of my portfolio pieces that I've done over the years. So, I mean, it's mainly kind of character illustration and character artwork, anything sort of figurative, that's kind of what I'm into, and obviously the bright, vibrant digital rendering, that's kind of my thing. So that's kind of what I've been doing over the last sort of 10, 12 years on and off. But as well as sort of a character artist and designer, I've also worked in web design. And over the years, on and off, I've probably clocked up a good sort of 4 years worth of design experience. And I've been doing tattooing as well for the last sort of 4 to 5 years, just part-time. So just kind of one day a week, getting the inks out, getting someone round, committing some artwork to their skin and making it permanent. So that's kind of what I've been doing. Career has kind of been a big mix of things. I think if you're trying to get into illustration, and it's never going to be a straightforward path of leaving school and then automatically having enough work to live off of for the rest of your life. Certainly for me, it's kind of been a case of doing a little bit, getting a few big jobs, a few little jobs, or quite a few little jobs, and then realising I need to make more money to survive, basically. So then I would go into graphic design or web design and try and explore that as a means to kind of still be creative and design something and sort of flex my creative muscles, but maybe doing something a little bit more commercial is hopefully going to be the way forward, or that's what I thought, and that's what I've tested in the past. At the moment I've kind of got a freelance gig that's sort of going to keep me financially ticking over till the end of the year. I've always got 1 or 2 people that want to tattoo every week, so we can spend a day doing that, and it's just enough to kind of keep me ticking over. Some people might have a weekend job working in a shop or a restaurant or something like that, but for me, I just do tattoos. That's kind of my thing. Maybe it'll be a full-time thing one day. I haven't quite decided, but my main interest is making characters look cool. So I'm just going to bring up some of my work a little bit larger so you can have a look. So this one was something I did for a demo during a comic convention in London. I was working for Wacom, the graphics tablet guys, and basically I approached them a few months prior to the event and said, would they like me to demo anything? And it just so happened that they were doing their first kind of event, and I kind of came along at the right time. So bit of luck, I managed to sort of get in and do 3 days of demoing artwork, and it kind of needed to be more of a sort of manga theme. They were pushing the sort of manga, I think it was Manga Studio software, along with their tablets, and branding it as the Manga Intuos tablet or something like that. So it was just a case of creating a bit of artwork that kind of fit. So I thought a girl coming out of a tablet, something like that would kind of be quite fun. This piece was for I think it was originally for just a forum competition. It was like the video game Rival Schools, where basically school kids battle each other in a beat 'em up fighting game. And the idea was to kind of design an original character. I kind of wanted to create a sort of artist character, and after I did that, I decided to submit it to a competition where I ended up winning for a character design thing. I'll use this guy as just like a quick, this is what I do. This was for the same competition as last time, but the year after. I didn't win, I didn't place at all. I actually like this work probably better. I think the lighting works a lot better on this one. She's supposed to be like a sort of fantasy pirate type of character, like a pirate captain. So I wanted her to be like, the whole outfit and wanted to be sort of like a nautical sea-based theme. So kind of like the sort of frilly bits on the dress and stuff like that are kind of supposed to be like waves, and she's got this big sort of, I don't know, shrimp sword or something going on there. It was all sort of blue colouring and stuff. And that later ended up getting used on the cover for Digital Manga, which is one of my instructional books. I think that came out 2014, sort of July, August time. Not too long ago now, and I basically put together a book on how to use Photoshop to create the kind of artwork that I create. So it's very much sort of what I do and my style, but I think a lot of people kind of like that sort of comic books sort of style where you kind of go in with the sort of clean line art and then render in between the lines with this kind of glossy airbrush look. And basically the book mostly teaches how to do that. Photoshop's such a complicated program that I could have made the book 5 times as big with all these other styles and talking more about brushes. So I kind of skimmed across it and just kind of gave enough info so that people could get a grasp of, well, I say all the basics, but it's pretty in depth as it is. I think it's like 40,000 words of info kind of crammed into 120 pages, which ideally it needed a good 200 pages to kind of space it out, make the images bigger, but constraints were as they were. So this was kind of like a tattoo style thing. I was trying to put together like a portfolio to sort of go around to tattoo shops and say, hey, you know, I do tattoos, this is the kind of stuff that I want to do, and this is kind of like a sample of my artwork. So I was going around to a few tattoo shops with my sort of more tattoo geared up portfolio, trying to get into a shop as an apprentice or something like that, probably about 5 years ago now. And I was sort of knocking on the doors of so many shops trying to get in, because I thought, right, you know, how do I make more money creatively and with my artwork and stuff? And tattooing seemed like a good call at the time, sort of thing I'm into anyway. So, but I never really got an apprenticeship, so it kind of ended up becoming something I sort of took on by myself, and it kind of has ended up becoming like a part-time job that I do kind of semi-regularly. I'm not doing it to the point where I'm going to become like this world famous amazing tattoo artist. I'm just not producing enough content to advance that quick, but yeah, I'm doing okay at it. Hitachi Girl, this was something that never got used, but it was like a little bit of a promo piece for some more demoing I did at a convention for Hitachi. So they were doing these interactive screens, and because they were going for this Japanese theme at the time, I think they basically wanted or one of the guys suggested, hey, let's get a manga style artist that can do some demos for us. So bit of luck, I was sort of found on the internet and ended up doing that as a little gig. This girl was just for fun, really. I think she was originally like a Christmas themed thing. I recoloured it to sort of this pink, but originally she was more sort of red and white Christmas theme with some sort of tinsel and baubles and stuff going on in the hair, and it was basically just an excuse to send out a Christmas card at the end of the year. But yeah, I mean, I really like this kind of style, this sort of smooth airbrush sort of look, and this basically sums up what I do most of the time. This was a commission. This was another one. Basically, I kind of dabble with a few different styles. I wouldn't say it's all hardcore manga. I do comic book stuff as well, or sometimes I just do, you know, whatever's given to me. If it's kind of like a reinterpretation of someone else's design, I kind of pick up on their design traits, their eye styles, nose styles, and I might kind of incorporate that. I mean, I think you can see it's my stuff with the colouring and stuff, but sometimes the eyes and the hair and these kind of things, they change. Sometimes it's a bit more realistic, kind of like this one, I guess. Sometimes it's more huge, big eyes, small mouth manga stuff. But yeah, I still feel like I'm kind of experimenting and figuring out what I like, what I don't like, and I've realised I like so much stuff now that it's hard for me to just stick to one style. I might look at some cutesy manga stuff and think, wow, that's really good. You know, I really like the way they've simplified those lines and given that kind of really visually appealing kind of look to the artwork. Maybe it's like really simple, kind of 2 to 4 tone cell animation style colouring, and you know, I'll get really into that and I'll do a bit of that, and then maybe I'll do something like this, which is a bit more kind of tattoo meets comic book meets kind of just airbrush. So, you know, I like to dabble in a few different things. This is kind of I guess a little bit more painterly style. I don't really dabble in that so much, you know. To be honest, I'm not a massive fan of that kind of raw style, but I can kind of see its appeal and I do like it. I'm not as big a fan as the really smooth stuff, but I do kind of like it at the same time, and sometimes that kind of rawness, it's just got something to it that the kind of smooth glossy stuff hasn't quite got. So again, this was kind of more tattoo pin-up sort of work. This was a commission for a guy on DeviantArt, I think. So it was just kind of taking one of his characters, redrawing it in my style. It was a time when I was like, hey, look, I want to do some art. If you want to commission me for a few bucks, I'll draw you up a character of your choosing. So that was one of those little jobs that I do sometimes when I want to be inspired. This was another commission for sort of firefighter girl. This was just a bit, I think this was a competition piece. It was just basically do a robot girl or a gynoid. I kind of wanted to go with a sort of like an old Astro Boy, but girl, but kind of like more mature look to it. So this was something I sort of came up with that. Kind of a little bit Tron inspired. One thing I do like is that kind of neon trim and neon detail. You know, I love stuff like that. And I guess even this piece, this is quite an old piece that I did ages ago. Even that's kind of got that kind of pink neon trim going on. So that's, yeah, big fan of that. Again, it's kind of got the pink neon things going on. Kind of Appleseed, Ghost in the Shell style cyborg girl, I guess. So, and then we're back to the beginning. So yeah, it gives you a quick overview of what I do, and hopefully I'll post some more stuff, maybe some old stuff, just to give you an idea of the stuff that I've done in the past. But yeah, this is kind of where I'm at now. This is like the portfolio that I put out there. The idea for me is to kind of continue to get better, continue leveling up. Maybe one day get to a point where I can replace all of this with even better stuff. That's all. I think with all artists, we all want to keep ascending and keep getting better. And even though I've kind of got a level I know that I'd like to be at, probably once I get to that level, I'll then want to go to the next level still. And if I get to that level, I'll want to go to the next level still. But this is something I've been doing, I guess you'd say semi-professionally for, I think I said at the beginning, like 12 years. You know, when I've not been doing the illustration, I've kind of been dabbling with other bits and pieces. So we'll see where it goes. I mean, I love being really flexible. I don't like really having a routine. I get bored pretty quick. I like to kind of work on a project for several months, and then once that's done, move on to something else. So I might be working flat out just on the tattoos or tattoo designs, and then I might go a bit more sort of fine arty, doing big canvas prints or something like that. And then I might decide to go back to character work and do some stuff for some games or apps or something like that. So it's kind of a case of whatever comes along, plus however bored I get and want to move on to something else. So we'll see how it goes in the future, but at least it gives you an idea of kind of the main arm to my kind of business, the illustration stuff and the characters I work on. Thanks for watching. Cheers.